everybody. This is Eric Erdman, and you're listening to Dealing the Mobile Sound, podcast where we try to put a spotlight on the Mobile, Alabama area music scene. And since that's our goal, we decided to record it here at the legendary Callahan's. And we're here in the green room of Callahan's. And today we have my buddy, the amazing singer-songwriter, soulful, beautiful voice, all the good things you want, Mr. Johnny Hayes.
Lawn care specialist.
The long hair specialist.
Lawn care specialist.
Hair specialist.
That too, I guess.
Yeah, man, how you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Thank you for being on.
What a great thing to finally happen here.
Well, I just feel like we have such a special music scene here, and I don't mean to just pat us on the back or be like our team's better than your team. It's just that I've been around, you have too. We've traveled all over, and it's just like there's something worth recognizing here that's a little special and unique, and that's what we're trying to do.
Agreed.
Also, in the wake of Cat Certain, who was the big champion of everything Mobile music, Lynn Olshu and I thought that maybe as a community we could all pick up a little piece of the big, massive job Cat was doing and try to put a little showcase on what we're all doing now. And it's just exciting to see everything that's coming to fruition for everybody in the music scene, and we're going to get into that. But in case you're wondering why we're sitting at a poker table, it just so happens that the green room of Callahan's is the centerpiece is a large, funky old poker table. So we decided to make this interview a little more interesting and make a metaphorical poker game out of it.
I'm into it. You're going to have to walk me through some of these
It's
rules,
all good. You are expected to know nothing of poker.
Okay, yeah. Good, because I don't know.
But one thing to start out that I'm sure you're familiar with is the concept of anteing up.
Yes.
To start the game. So to ante up, tell me about a time you can remember when you first put your chips behind yourself in the music industry.
So I knew about your band before I started playing music. You were one of the first bands I ever went to see live.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. And I mean, I saw you at the Pink Pony one time. That was after I think that may have been the first time I saw you, and I was hooked. And then I saw you at Soul Kitchen, and it was amazing. And then I saw you, and I'd heard that you were coming up. I lived in Tuscaloosa at the time. Yeah. I had maybe 20 years old, and I met this buddy of mine at the time. I was 19, and he was 22 or 23. Which when you're that young, you see somebody like that as much older, wiser.
The elder statesman,
right.
23 years old.
And he was kind of starting his life over, and we were in the same public relations class together. Kind of, it was like the intro to public relations class, and we became fast friends. And anyways, he introduced me to his friends. Well, they're all older. So I'd kind of met all of his buddies, and we all became friends, and they hung out at this new bar that was in Tuscaloosa at the time called Top Shelf, Nemi's Top Shelf Tavern.
Yeah, baby. Shout out. Nemi's Top Shelf.
So we'd go in there on Tuesdays. It was $2 Tuesdays or something like that.
I guarantee you they had Tuwaka. That was their jam.
Yes. Tuwaka. Yes. In fact, I think they may have been the sponsor that night. I think they were the sponsor, as a matter of fact. So anyways, I'd go there every once in a while with them, and I'd turn 20, and for a year I would go to that bar, and nobody ever asked me for anything because I was just hanging out with dudes who were well past 21, and nobody asked any questions, and I wasn't going to be.
The statute of limitations is over on that.
Yes,
nobody please come after Nemi's or Johnny Hayes, but
this is tequila talking.
Go ahead.
But I wasn't a big drinker. I just wanted to hang. But I did play music a little bit. It wasn't like a thought to be career path of any sort. I was in college. I was trying to maybe find a cool job. The joke was on me 4 years later. But anyways, one night I'd played for my buddies, and they were like, you're pretty good. You should maybe try to do this. This place, Nemi's Top Shelf Tavern, they probably would like you there if you played there. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that all the time. I don't know enough songs. Like I never written a song.
Yeah.
You know, probably maybe I knew 40 songs or something at the time. And so one night I was there, and while these two guys were playing, they took a break. And before they got on their break, I walked up to them. I was like, "Hey," and my buddies had told me to do this. They kind of like were pushing me to do this,
Yeah.
you know, like he should really, because I was pretty shy, you know, and I'm pretty reserved before I meet people, you know, most of the time, and this was, you know, no different, and I mustered up the like, not knowing. In retrospect, like if somebody and people do this to me now, right? They're like, "Can I play during your break?" Or I'm like, "No, get away," you know. But no, the guy was like, and he was probably young. He was probably 22, but he played a Taylor or something like that. It was a Taylor, and I was like, "Man, I hate to even ask you this. Is it possible that I can maybe play a couple songs on your break?" And he said, he goes, "Are you any good?" And that was like the moment of like, oh God, I've got to be. I was like, well, I was like, I know a few songs, and I guess I can sing okay, you know, like trying to not be like, yeah, I'm amazing,
right.
But you know, I didn't,
right.
I wasn't even close to being, you know, in that mindset. So he said, yeah, he let me get up there, and I sang David Gray, Babylon.
Very cool.
It was like the first.
Yeah.
That was immediately because that was one of the first songs I learned, and I remember before I had sang it live. Before I used to stand in my room and sing it like in the mirror, and I remember thinking at one point like maybe you should try this, kind of being outside of my body, like maybe you should try to do this. And so I, you know, that night I sang that song, and I also sang. You remember Flight of the Conchords?
Oh, of course I do. They're one of my favorites.
Prettiest girl in the room,
in the whole wide
room. And played on the break, and the bartender, I think her name was Amanda at the time. You remember Amanda?
I do.
Yeah, she loved it. So she told Trevor. She's like, "I'm telling Trevor." She's like, "That was awesome." She's like, "You need to play here." And so he took a chance on me. Trevor Nemi, he lives in Atlanta now. God,
I had no idea Trevor Nemi gave you your first gig.
Trevor Nemi in my first gig.
Shout out Trevor Nemi.
Yeah, man. And he was like, he goes, "Look, if you play," he goes, "you can come play on a Tuesdays." He's like, "It's $50." You know, but at the time I was like, $50?
Yeah, man. Serious? College kid, $50. Let's go.
You know, so he gave me the gig. And I played the gig, and it was great. So that was kind of like my first like gig was at Nemi's Top Shelf Tavern.
Yeah, you put yourself out there asking that guy.
Yeah.
This is gonna take me a minute to articulate it, but I've always admired the way you set up songs. I think you're very pro and it's very natural and engaging and entertaining, and that's a skill that I didn't have at all. Like I'm still trying to be better at it, and but like
I mean that's funny. I thought sorry to interrupt you, but that's funny you say that because I did not think that was a thing that I was good at.
You're about as good as anybody I've heard, I think. But like one thing I've noticed, because I'm the biggest fan of the mobile music scene, but a lot of the gigs historically anyway were bar, restaurant, loud gigs. They would let you do originals, which is why we have so many original, you know, great acts coming out of here, right. I think. But it was also, even though you could play your originals, it was play one. It's loud in here, so get onto it and play the next song. So you were just chopping songs. There wasn't a lot of banter in between. Like, I wrote this with my friend Dave song. Like that's the setup for it. So then you get to go play the Bluebird or Eddie's Attic or these places where it's a room full of people hanging on every word. And then you're like, I need better stories. And you stumble through. Yeah. I mean, we all stumble through that. And I noticed that I feel like that's a skill that we typically learned outside of the mobile music scene.
It's a skill I learned outside of music in general.
Right. But it's like, I've always admired that when I've heard you. I mean, your songs are great. I love your songs. But I mean, like, there's never a moment of, like, you pick up whatever is around. It's a little bit of ad lib. It's a little bit of playing off the crowd, playing off the other people. But you do it exceptionally well. And anyway, just as it relates to the mobile music scene, I was just like, that Johnny Hayes guy's got it
Oh,
going
dude,
on.
thanks, man. I've played a couple shows like where I opened for people at like Soul Kitchen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember like that dead air in between the songs, right?
The worst.
It's so uncomfortable, and it's I think it is more uncomfortable as the performer than it is for the audience, and it's about how comfortable you are is about how comfortable they're going to be. And I've noticed comedians are like the best example of people who can't, they won't let they'll just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And so really during the pandemic, and after I'd opened for a few people and kind of like experienced that like awkwardness of like just like ding ding tuning, sorry guys, kind of like
tuning. Tell a story while you're tuning.
Right. Kind of embracing the silence, because I have been to concerts and seen concerts on TV where the artist or the band is basically like, we're not going to say anything and you're going to be okay with it, and everybody is okay with it because they're not like nervous or anything. It's just about as relaxed as they can be. And so part of that, and then being a songwriter and watching different people open up for people who are songwriters and kind of what they did in between. And so what I started to do was, instead of making it, when I did an original show, when I made a set list in between, because you forget things on stage. You'll be like, oh, I want to tell that story, or I want to do this, and it'll just slip because you're in the show and you just forget it. I would start writing on my set list like Voodoo Queen, tell New Orleans story, and then I'd put bullet points.
Little cue sheet.
Yeah, part of the set list, right? And then would do that, and then eventually like you start to. It's synonymous. The song is synonymous with the story,
right.
And you like a script. You don't miss these certain little things, and that is part of the show.
Of course, and once you do that enough as a songwriter, I know you know this, but like you realize how much bigger the song hits,
right?
When people are when they know the story behind it, they're expecting parts of the song, even if they don't know the lyrics. They're expecting what to happen or whatever. Yeah, I think to your point of awkward silences, I think for me, I don't know about anybody else, but like I said, coming from that, whereas like I had worked up music that I was comfortable with playing at a decent level, but this like the banter in between, I noticed how lacking I was to other people. But the problem was because it's usually like hurry up and get to the song when you're around, like play a song. If you're gonna tell a story, make it fast. We were in a place where nobody was in a rush, and I was going, one time I did this, and just running through it all, and it's like, it's okay to go.
Yeah.
There was one time I was at this writer retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then talk, and then you just get comfortable and like, oh, I don't have to just steam train this. I can just actually tell them a nice flowy story, and it's okay.
Yeah, and they're there for it. They're there for the pauses and the breaths. And then most of the time, especially if they're already there to see you, they're like, oh no, we actually want to hear the story. We want to see other people's reactions to the story the way we did.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you said, it's a part of the show,
and that's part of the experience. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we get to the first card of this poker game?
Okay.
So in poker, the first part of it, at least in Texas Hold'em, we'd be doing the flop.
Okay.
So the first round is the flop. Mm-hmm. So what I want you to do is think about, if you can, if there happens to be one, remember a song that you wrote and you played at the house and you were like, you just feeling it and you're just like, can't wait to get it out into the ears of the public, and you played it. Not saying they hated it, but it didn't really it didn't stick as hard as you thought.
I can't think of one in particular where I wrote it and then played it out and was like, it didn't go over like I think it was. But I can say that I have a song called Rose and Cigarettes. I wrote with.
I know it well.
I wrote that with Matt Mackey and Stuart Bond in 2017, and we were really excited about that one after we wrote it. And while we wrote it, I played them the chorus, and they were like, we need to write that one. And the next, I think couple months later, after it had been written, we started to play it out with our set that we were doing. And our set that we were doing was really like soul, rock and roll kind of a vibe. And this was different. This was more like, I guess I was right. I was really, really studying the Rolling Stones at the time when I was writing all this music. And I loved how every song that they did was whatever they were doing, it was the Stones country, it was the Stones rock and roll, it was the Stones R&B, it was it was their thing, their genre. They owned the hell out of it. So I wanted to kind of do that, and I wrote this song thinking like it would go well in our set. And we went to a music festival in Allentown, and we played that song, and I loved it so much. I wanted to close with it, but we still thought maybe it was too early to close with it because it was kind of a newer one, and we had some solid closers at the time. So I played it like towards the end of the set, and the set was going really well, and I played that song, and I could see people's faces were like what, like what's going on here? And this one dude, he looks me dead in the eyes and double birds me. He's like, he sort of, he said the word. It was like, and he did it once, right? And I looked, and I was like, and I kind of looked at the band. I was like, is he doing that to me? So the chorus came back around again, and what it was every time I said the word Democrat, which
gotcha.
Which it's funny because everyone's reaction to that line is a little different based on who they are and what they think and how they think. And honestly, I thought it was funny because it rhymed with cigarette. and she was from Texas in my head, and I thought it was ironic that she was from Texas and she was a Democrat, but she was everything about it just flowed when I was writing it. So it was really not a lot of like depth behind the lyric.
That's the perfect thing I'm looking for. That song is not a flop, but in that moment, for that guy, flop. Even if he was misguided in his understanding of the song. Well, look, I know generally of your path, and you've been here, you've been in Tuscaloosa, you've been in Nashville, you went to major broadcast television on The Voice.
Yes.
You have but you're definitely a staple in our music community, and wouldn't be the same without you. And so I'd like to know, the next card of our poker game is the turn.
Okay.
And so at the turn, I'm going to ask you to think of a time when music turned from something more of a hobby or something you could just get a little spare change at college to something that you felt like could actually be your career path.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of little sparks that happen that kind of like push you in that direction.
So maybe like one big moment where you said,
I'm trying to think of one. Oh man, how did this happen? So there's this girl I went to high school with who got an internship at a management company in Nashville. I'm trying to put all the pieces together. So, in red light management was in Nashville, and this was like 2010, I think. Because I love music and I do play it a little bit, maybe the music business would be something that I would maybe try to get into.
Makes sense.
So a few months had gone by, and I think it was like October of 2010. And I had sent an email to this girl. I was like, hey, I heard you got this internship and that you got hired. Congratulations. If there's an internship still open, I might be interested in that. Let me know. Well, she emailed me back. She got me in touch with the guy that did the hiring. I ended up getting the internship. So I was living in Mobile and working for my dad doing lawn care. He had just started doing lawn care as like his full-time thing, and so I was like his partner, basically. Like we kind of did it on the weekends together, and it was like approaching November, and the internship started in January, And I told the girl I was dating and my dad, I was like, I got a interview to do this internship, and I feel like I'm gonna get it, like, so I want to see. So I went up to Nashville in November, did the interview, got the internship, and then I'm moving to Nashville. It was just like, I'm gonna move to Nashville, and I remember the girl I was dating was crying, like she was like devastated, know.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I basically told her, I was like, I'm gonna move to Nashville. You can either come with me or you don't have to. And that was kind of the begining of the end of that.
Right. That is one way to do it.
That is one way to do it. And so so I ended up moving to Nashville, and I did that internship for a few months, and was like, I don't think I want to be in the music business, but I was playing like a little bit, and I was writing more because I was living by myself for the first time, really, in a room. And I was doing all this writing, and they were terrible songs, and but I liked doing it. I really enjoyed it, and I was like, maybe I can try to do this. And then it kind of was like a slow burn, and eventually I ran into Matt Mackey, who was also living in Tuscaloosa, and he had just moved to Nashville. We ran into each other at a Gabe Dixon concert, and he was like, hey, I just moved here, and I just moved here, and we had gone outside to kind of like, we just started talking, and he was like, we should start going to these, like, we didn't know about them, but writers round things. He was telling me about writers round, so I was like, what the hell is a writers round, So we started going to them and just checking them out, and see what. And then we started getting invited to do them, and I'd written a song with him, and I think I would say it was that year, it was like 2010, 2011.
Cool.
That I was like, I think that I can maybe do this, or I want to try to do this, and I stayed up there for 5 years.
Very cool. Well, I know for a fact that since then you have done a lot since then, and I know you have a lot of projects already out, but you have a lot of stuff on your plate right now coming out, and I'm not sure when this episode is going to air, so this might be retrospective. But let's just talk about the things you have. You have a new Christmas song, you have an EP, you have all kinds of things. Tell me about it.
Well, thanks to John and Lynn Oldshoe for starting Gulf Coast Radio, by the way.
We know them. They're
I've heard
one
of
of them is sitting 3 feet from us right now. And the reason this podcast exists.
That kind of got me back into, like, I'm gonna maybe try to put out some more music sooner than I thought, because thankfully they're spinning some stuff, and it's amazing, and I'm like, I want to get some more stuff out there. And Lynn had asked me to do like I can say it now, a Christmas song, and I was like, all right,
like a traditional Christmas song,
like,
original Christmas song.
Well, I asked her, and she's like, no, just like your favorite Christmas songs, whatever. So, and I have a couple favorites, and so, well.
So what did you do?
By the time this comes out, so what I ended up doing was, I recorded the Christmas song, the Nat King Cole classic, and I also recorded 2,000 Miles, but I hadn't put that one out. I don't know if I will. Might next year. I don't know.
All right. Well, in addition to your Christmas song, what else you got coming? I know you mentioned Good Lord Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise, and EP, and all these things.
So Good Lord, God Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise.
The Gulf Won't Rise.
I put that out before, and that was one that I'd played. I was just playing it live. I'd written it. I started writing that. I wrote that line, God Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise, a few months ago, and I've just been kind of, building upon it slowly, and then started to play it live, and it developed. Finally got it to where I wanted it, and I played it here, and John and Lynn were here, and they had asked me about it, and like how they could find it or whatever, and I hadn't recorded it, and so when she asked me to do the Christmas song while I was doing it, I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and record God Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise. And I really liked how it turned out, just as it was. And I did the same thing where I took it, voice memo, put it in GarageBand, add a little magic to it or whatever.
Cool.
No auto-tune or anything like that. But And I was like, yeah. And it was the same kind of thing. Like, I know people enjoy a live show, and maybe I'll just put this out. This is, and if I want to like re-record it later with a band and do it that way, I can. But I want to put it out. I think it's one of the songs that I feel lucky to have written because it is so of today, and I don't really like. I'm not, I think that's like a folk singer. That's what a folk singer does, right? He writes about the times.
Yeah. So God Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise, that's a single?
That's a single, and it was just like on a whim. I just was like, I'll put out some music before the end of the year because I'm going to put out an EP in January.
Will it be included on the EP or no? Different?
No. So I'm releasing an EP January 2nd. By the time this comes out, it'll probably already be out.
It'll probably be everywhere.
It's got songs on there that I've already released as singles. One that I haven't released ever. But the other 4 I've released as singles or in another capacity. Rose and Cigarettes is one of them.
Cool.
Where like I put that on an EP called Voodoo Country a few years ago. And the reason I did that was because it wasn't out and people were requesting it so much from me that I was like feeling it needed to be.
Yes.
Because people were like, I want to hear, where can I find this? Where can I find this? Where can I find this? And I didn't have anything, and I was starting to get like, you feel that pressure a little bit of like, I need to put something out. And so I did that with Voodoo Queen, Rose and Cigarettes, and then Jacob's song, Stoned one more time. Oh, speaking of Stoned, congratulations on Stone's Throw being.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I wanted to mention that earlier, and that just reminded me of it. So
my song Stone's Throw that I wrote with Drew Nix of the Red Clay Strays was just featured on CBS's The Road the other night. So in case you didn't catch it, go check that out.
Channing Wilson, who's on that.
Big love to the Red Clay Strays, by the way. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you didn't.
Big love, Red Clay Strays, Mobile representing.
Yep. Channing
Wilson, who's on that show.
Yep.
He was one of the very first people I'd ever been in a writer's round with.
Very cool.
When I was in Nashville in 2011. And this was before he was signed to anybody or anything. And I remember like hearing him at the time being like, whoa. But anyways, what was the original question to this?
Well, I'm trying to get to your EP.
Yeah,
because
EP.
We're talking about...
Sorry, yeah. So I'm putting this EP out. It's got it has 5 songs on it. It's January 2nd. It's a collection of tunes. And I thought that and that's why I didn't put God Willing and the Gulf Don't Rise on there, because I felt like they all deserved to be together. It was kind of a project that my friend, producer, bass player, confidant Tim Hawkins kind of was like, when the pandemic happened, he was like, let's make a record. He had all the stuff, and he was like, let's do this. Let's make like a country rock combo. And I think these are the songs that you need to do, and it'll be the perfect combination and blend into kind of show your versatility, and we'll put it out. And that was in like I said, it was like 2020 when he had that idea. 2022 was when we started recording it, and here we are now, 3 years later.
Well, look, do you want to play a song off of that EP?
So January 2nd is Suitcases and Stolen Hearts is the name of the EP. And then a month later, I have another project that I've been working on, and a few people know about it, but I haven't put it out as far as like a thing yet. I haven't put it on social media or anything like that. It's a side project that I'm doing with Tim. I was just saying Tim Hawkins. We started another project based on some different songs called Silver Haze. And it is like, we call it yacht R&B.
Okay, well, since we're talking about the new project, Silver Haze, why don't we spin a track from that? But tell us what song you'd like to hear.
This one's called South of France. I wrote this in 2020. Open up that bottle, baby.
you, babe. Listen to that love language and the people passing by. Everybody's on the same page. In that lover's book, red eye to eye. Baby, meet me in the south of France. Show me how to dance these days. Love you with your lover's hand. Somewhere in the south of France. Baby, on your bed, champagne. And call me by another man's name. Stop and we can start again. Baby, meet me in the south of France. You want to, baby. You want to, baby. Meet me in the south of France. Show me how to dance these days. Love you with your lover's hand. Somewhere in the south of France. Meet me on your best champagne. Call me by another man's name. Stop and we can start again. Baby, meet me in the south of France. If you want to, babe. Over and over and over and over again. South of France, south of France, babe.
There you go, South of France off the brand new Silver Haze EP. Go download it everywhere, stream it, do your thing. Johnny, we're so happy to have you here today on the Dealing the Sound of Mobile. Thank you for coming in. We got a few more things for you before we get out of here. Let's get to the next card in our game. This one is called The River. So in this segment, we're going to ask you to imagine, like, if you could take any person, living or dead, take some artist or family member, whoever you want, take them fishing, and then, who would you take fishing here in the Mobile Delta somewhere, wherever your honey hole happens to be?
So, I'm not a big fisherman. I know it's weird being from here, but
So you would need to take somebody really good at fishing.
yeah, I would. And
just kidding.
and well, so my my dad and his brothers, when they were little, every summer they would go to Magnolia Springs. They had their aunt had a house down there, has a house down there. She's no longer with us, but now my great uncle owns that house and lives in that house. I don't know exactly where it is. I think I've only been there maybe one time as a kid, but I remember they used to tell me stories about every summer they'd go down there and they'd always go fishing. Like that was like a big thing that they just would do, They would, and I like, I'm sure like most people, I like to imagine what my dad was like when he was a boy.
Yeah, that's cool.
When he was a younger kid, and my uncle who coincidentally got me this guitar. He's my dad's older brother. He really loves fishing, and so I would probably, if I could, in my wildest dreams, I would want to go back in time and I would want to go fishing with both of them there,
That's
and
cool, yeah.
have them kind of show me, what to do.
You're right. That's
I've
cool.
been fishing before, but I'm not.
No, that's a great answer. I love that answer, that it's not just two people that you care about, but you want to go back into a different era and just see them as young people. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Dad and Uncle. And since we're talking about your uncle who gave you this guitar, why don't you play a song on the guitar. You got something new. Tell us where this is from and what it's about and all that.
So yeah, this is I wrote this song. I've talked about it earlier in the podcast, but I wrote this. It was on a rainy night, and I knew for sure that I wasn't going to have to work the next day. So I had a bottle of tequila, and I sat in the music room at the house, and I was just listening to Bob Dylan not too long before that, and so this little riff that he only does like one time in the beginning of It Ain't Me. He does this like thing. He does it one time, and I loved it. And so I'd play it, I'd cover it, and I'd make sure I did that little hammer-on thing that he did. And so I was sitting down at on the couch, and I just started going. And it was raining outside, and I was like, rain in Mobile. And then all of a sudden I was right into it. I just started singing verses that didn't exist before 2 seconds that. And so I'm going to put this out probably as like a little acoustic single pretty soon. But this is one I've really loved to play, and I've always wanted to write a song about Mobile, especially coming back, leaving it, coming back to it, leaving it again, and coming back to it again. Always a little bit older, always some other experiences that I have, and like, it's gonna make me sorry, it's gonna make me emotional thinking about it. But I love this place, and I've grown a lot here. And I feel like this area has been so patient with me, even though they don't really know me that well, you know. But they come to shows, and they still come, and and there's highs and there's lows, and to me that's like when the rain and the sun, and especially in Mobile, it's like it rains so much that you know, you really appreciate the sunny days, but you learn to live with the rainy days, and you learn to live with the stuff that maybe you don't want, but it's, you know, it's gonna pass and it'll be over. But it's what makes Mobile beautiful, because it keeps things green, and it's just all the things. And I wanted to write something for Mobile, and that's what this is. And this is called The Rain in Mobile. Well, my windshield wiper's working overtime again. My back is steady hurting on, so putting hours in. Pollen in the oak trees are planning my demise. Spread the leaves on anything that touches any light. It's just the way it is. It's all part of the deal. There ain't nothing you can do about the rain in Mobile. Those sunny days will tease you, make the weatherman a liar, ruin all the plans you made and put out all your fires. Those Sunday nights in Silver Hill had to run inside. The southern muses fill the air like moisture in the sky. It's just the way it is. It's all part of the deal. There ain't nothing you can do about the rain in Mobile. Those hurricanes are coming, the power's going out. Downtown is flooding and the only other sound that you hear are the wheels swimming, swishing through the streets. And if you get stuck on Royal, just sneak inside of Veets. This town's got a way of letting you down, pulling you up right before you drown. But that's just the way it is. It's all part of the deal. There ain't nothing you can do about the rain in Mobile. They'll say that's just the way we live. It's the way we feel. And there ain't nothing you can do. There ain't nothing you can say. She can make your dreams come true, and she'll steal them all away. And there ain't nothing you can do about that rain in Mobile. Rain in Mobile. Oh, that rain in Mobile. Rain in Mobile.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank y'all.
Beautifully done, Mr. Johnny Hayes.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much for having me today. This is awesome.
Man. You just blew my mind, because now I was thinking about, from that song, about how Mobile's like the rainiest or one of the top 3 rainiest cities in the country. And I was like, no wonder we have this crop of songwriters. As you said earlier, that's when we can write songs, because you can't do anything else but be inside.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it just goes with the weather. Right?
It does. It really does. Yeah, that was definitely born in the rain for sure. Yes.
All right. Well, before you get out of here, we're about to shuffle up and get ready for the next episode. So this last little portion right here is you got to go all in. If you have to push all your chips in on the table,
Okay.
behind one Mobile area musician that maybe you think deserves more shine, that hasn't got it, or someone that maybe we should have on this podcast later, who would you go? I know it's putting you on the spot because there's so many, but
There are so many.
so basically just one you love a lot,
God, this is tough.
Or you could do like Ryan Balthrop did and put 37 people right here.
Yeah, I'm not
He
gonna.
just listed like half of the music scene because he's got a big heart like that. But I won't limit you to one, but
Yeah, there. God, I mean, I'm friends with so many musicians here. I think a guy that I really, especially of late, and I've seen he's had a little bit of pretty good success recently, but I kind of knew before that he was very good. Garrett Howell. I don't know if you know
I
this.
love Garrett
But dude,
Howell.
I mean, everything he's done, like he showed me some of his songs not that long ago, and I was like, oh man, this is so good. Like, because they were so different. They didn't sound like anybody else's songs, and they were their own thing. So he's definitely one that I think is like next level. I mean, Harrison McInnes is another one like that. Like all of his songs are they're Harrison McInnes songs.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love those. Like yours are like that. Like they from a million miles away, and I think that's what makes a great artist. But there's those are a couple.
That's good.
Specifically,
No disdain to anyone else.
No
that we all
disdain to
know
any,
you
but there's
love.
so many. I mean, God, I could name a billion, but yeah, those two stick out in my mind.
Well, thank you so much for being a
Dude,
part
thank
of
you.
Dealing the Sound of Mobile, and thank you for being my brother in music,
Dude,
and thank you for being a
likewise.
part
What
of
an
this
honor.
music community, and we
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
you being on, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Hayes.
Thank you, Eric Erdman.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dealing the Mobile Sound. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss out on any of our future guests. Trust me, you do not want to miss what they have to say and the songs they have to sing. Thank you again to Callahan's for providing the love and the place for us to record this podcast. And thank you to Will and the Bushmen for providing the intro and outro music. Be sure to hear all the songs from our guests on mobilebayradio.com. Until next time, thank you again. This is Eric Erdman.